This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard
On VSiN.
Yes, here we go. Follow the money. VSiN, the sports betting network. Paulie Howard, John Jastrzemski. What a time to be alive. In play dream. Round 2 U.S. Open. USA, Australia at the half. We haven't started 2-0 in the World Cup since 1930. We lead 2-0 at the half, JJ. Also, if Turkey loses or they draw later tonight from Santa Clara against Paraguay, we win the group. We advance if this holds. Let's try to win the group. But again, we get the own goal early. Freeman adds another one. Draw in play is 18-1. Australia to come back is 45-1. The total now on the match is 3.5. 2-0 USA at halftime. It's packed here at Circa. The whole place is going crazy with the 2 goals. We are legit. We are for real, JJ.
How about that nugget? They have not won their first 2 matches going back to 1932. Crazy stuff there, Paulie. And how about the technology, might I add, on that second goal? And that's the beauty of sports now. You see it with ABS in Major League Baseball. For years, we've watched it with the tennis, whether or not a shot is going to be in or out. To be able to dissect that foot, to make sure, hey, your guy is in play, he's not offside, and they could just draw it up beautifully with the technology. That was a thing of beauty for me because I tailed one of our guys that took over 2.5 goals, so we need one more goal in this particular match.
Yeah.
And I also played and laid the USA, which I'm going to admit was a little bit of a homerish bet. I made 2 homerish bets because it's Friday. We're feeling good. I'm still coming off the high of the parade from yesterday. So I took the U.S. and I laid the juice. Yeah. And I also took the U.S. and I parlayed them with a very hefty favorite in Major League Baseball, which we'll get to a little bit later on in the show.
Say what it is. It's great. Come on, God Core Country.
Oh, we want to get to it right now? Or I was going to give you a little bit of a tease.
No, that's awesome. That's a great parlay, though. USA with the Yankees. Doesn't get any better than that,
That's right. I mean, it doesn't get more patriotic than that, right? I mean, what's more patriotic than Team USA and Yankee baseball? Come on now.
Yep. 3.5 under -150. Both teams to score. Yes, plus 150. We'll see if we concede. Paraguay got the late one on us in the second half last week. And then, as far as the spread, can we add another one and take them out in a body bag? You can play that as well. You made a good point, though, too, and it was frustrating here that the whole place is going crazy. We think we lead 2-0. Oh, wait, hold on. It was kind of like the frustration with the Stanley Cup final and the review. And there were people around me at the bar that knew the rules better than the referee. Because then you go back and say, no, it's clean, he's good. And then VAR says, yes, the goal stands and Freeman's goal counts. But it took a lot, took some of the steam out because you think, hold on, it's not a goal, they take it off. Now we have to have the VAR check. But thankfully it held up, but that took away some of the fun there for about a couple minutes.
No doubt, Paulie. And listen, you see that now, like we may have a World Series in baseball end with an ABS challenge. Like there is a distinct possibility in October, like a dramatic playoff series or a World Series ends with them going to the videotape. But I don't know about you. I like it. To me, like in sports, we get on these officials so much. We're talking from a betting show perspective of a lot of bucks that are being thrown around.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'll take the extra time. I'll dissect it. I want the call right. Now, there are some issues with replay, like in baseball, perfect example. When a guy like slides off the base, that to me is not what replay is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about fixing the egregious.
Yes.
But like that goal call, I mean, come on now. You see that flag go up. We want to make sure we get it right. Thankfully, we do get it right. And Paulie, all I know, if we're not cashing USA at the end of the day today, I am not going to be a happy camper. Right now, I'm in a really good mood and in really good spirits. That will not be the case at around 7 Eastern if this is a draw, or dare I say this is a loss. Don't expect that to be the case. But how about the U.S. doing this in this first half without their best player, arguably? Crazy.
Sure. The injury, right? No doubt about it. He's not playing. I can't believe the firepower here. And to win 4-1, and now it's 2-0. Does Australia score? If it holds, if it stays the way it is, under is 3-1. If the stay away, and then I mentioned what the BTTS earlier was as well. Under 3.5 minus 150. Under 2.5, 3-1. You want to go over 4.5, it's plus 430. But then again, this could fall maybe 3-0 or maybe it's 3-1. But I would say over 3.5 for the match now with how well we're playing and how dangerous we are offensively. But I didn't see. I did drive in, so I missed the first 10 minutes. It didn't seem, though, that Australia generated much chances or many opportunities. We've been great thus far. Is that how you see it?
That is how I see it. And for what it's worth, I don't think this under is cashing. I think we're getting at least another goal here in the second half.
Yeah.
You mentioned 3-1. If you're feeling frisky right now and you want to go and play an exacta, I have not. But if that's something you want to do, Paulie, I kind of like the idea of a 3-1 final in this one.
Sounds
Can I
good.
get you on board with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll look and see what that pays in a second for exact score.
I was going to say, you got the big circuit. It's going to be easier for you to do it than me. You got that beautiful big circus sportsbook wall, 7-1. Thank you, Luke.
7-1.
Appreciate that. 7-1.
Yes, very good exact score. I could see that as well. Also, talking to Luke, because here at Circa, Burgess to score first was 100-1, but it was an own goal. So
own goal.
Yeah, FanDuel and Boyd, I think, then push it to the second goal. It depends where you shop and where you bet it. So that's bizarre that starts that way with the own goal, and that was plus 550. I think that's now the 7th of the tournament, and for the whole tournament, World Cup, it was 10.5. So the own goals continue. So also maybe you cash with Freeman, who scored the second goal, how that plays out as well. So we play Turkey next Thursday back in Inglewood, but this would be something if we get help tonight from Paraguay and we can win the group. And that could be the case tonight.
Paul, did you bet him to win the group?
No
I
way.
bet him to win the group.
No way. No way.
You didn't?
We've stunk.
Okay.
I'm in my I'm almost 50 years old. We've stunk in soccer for how long? I mean, I said it earlier, 1930.
I know the group was, you're right about that, but the group was so weak.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they really did set it up, not to be some sort of soccer expert, but you kind of looked at who you were playing, and it wasn't like necessarily a murderer's row where you have that behemoth. You don't have a Brazil to deal with. You don't have a Mexico to deal with. You don't have one of those perennial powers. Kind of set up well. It's like in a way the World Cup committee set it up in a way where they wanted to make sure the host country was going to go and have some success. But by the same token, Paulie, they're playing unbelievable ball. I mean, they have been great here in the first three halves of these games.
Absolutely. Yes. It'd be great to be in Seattle and the atmosphere's top-notch A+. I wouldn't mind being in Foxborough coming up, though, for Morocco and Scotland. I have put you on Morocco. The more I think about it, I love Morocco coming up. But again, the Tartan Army here and the Scotland supporters who drank Boston and the taverns out of Sam Adams, they drank 4 times what the company normally stocks during a typical 4-day holiday stretch like the 4th of July. They had to bring in emergency delivery of beer and extra deliveries. Multiple bar owners said, we've never seen anything like it. The White Bull Tavern, out of beer. Scottish fans drank us dry. One place was only down to Bud Light. The partying is nonstop. They won 1-0 against Haiti. But if you dig deep, JJ, Haiti had more possession time and had better expected goals to win that. So not only Morocco to win, you can bet to 0, or you can lay a goal and a half, which is like plus 220, plus 240 in that range. Very impressed with Morocco in the draw against Brazil. Great story, but I think Scotland was fortunate to beat Haiti. Have I talked you on to Morocco here? You want to join the fun?
You sure have.
Okay.
And the only thing that scares me a little bit is that it feels like everybody and their mother now is hopping aboard the Morocco train,
Yes.
which always is a little frightening for me. But you know what? I just rode a bandwagon with the New York Knicks, and it worked out pretty well.
Sure.
Let's hope that bandwagon continues to give me success. But I got to say, the Scots ran the folks up in New England out of beer. Paulie, that's like when I come into the Circa Casino, I run them out of Modelo's. You know what I mean? Like I'm at the Stadium Swim, I'm at the sports book, I'm rolling the dice, right, watching the games. Like, I know Derek and company never got to worry about running out of beer and running out of Modelo, but I give them a run for their money. Just saying.
But listen, I heard the stories about you. You know, House and Cousin Sal, you are fantastic with the craps. and fun to be around when you got a nice roll going as well. The chief operating officer at Hennessy's Bar told the Boston Globe sales tripled St. Paddy's Day. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, these fans can put it down what they're doing, but we'll see.
And you know what you're seeing too, Paulie? These people are on vacation, and they know full well, hey, World Cup, I spent a lot of money to come here. My country is in it. I'm getting my money's worth. I think the Scots are almost certainly getting their money's worth.
Absolutely. We're underway in the second half. 2-0 USA. Draw 18-1. Australia to shock the world 45-1. The total is 3.5 under -130. You know, you want to lay 2.5 with the USA. You want to go over 3.5. You want to go over 4.5. I ran down the numbers earlier. It's all there. But we look great, and I don't know if Australia's going to score. So maybe it's more like 4-1. That could happen too. And over 4.5 is plus 440 at DraftKings. Follow the money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Paulie Howard, John Jastrzemski, the legend, Bob Ryan in 20 minutes. Should the Celtics get Giannis? Should they change the way they play? His advice for Wemby, the great mass excursion later in the show. A plethora of props. The Miz is going again. His favorite guy for the Brewers. So we'll talk to him, and also more soccer in the card coming up, and the weekend slate with Malcolm Bamford as well. You won't believe what happened late last night with the U.S. Open and how this golfer responded today. That's next, coming up. Follow the money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, downtown Circa. So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Paulie and John Jastrzemski, we're back. 2-0 USA, 65th minute. Trying to get past Australia, and the Cubs all over the Blue Jays, 11-2 in the 7th. Going to be a crazy weekend. We might see a Giannis trade. The draft is Tuesday. And for more on Giannis and the Celtics, it's the legend Bob Ryan, Boston Globe, on the Progressive guest line. Always great to talk to a legend. And, sir, let me start by this, that you were not caught off guard or surprised with this great Knicks run. I also echo your sentiments that I loved the fast break points and how they ran the Sixers and Cavs out of the building.
There was one of those games when I did post up on X. That was the greatest fast break exhibition I've seen since the Showtime Lakers. And it was that one game. They touched all the bases. They scored in all the the current available way. Nobody scores in a pivot anymore, so we'll throw that one out. Although but they touched all the right bases, and I identified them last year, the 24-25 season. But that team, I love the new roster. And remember what the big complaint was last season: depth. And that Tibbs wasn't using the bench. And then they were saying, well, wait a minute, who's he going to use? Well, they picked up the Clarkson. They picked up Jose Alvarado, which I loved at that time. And Landry Shamet was very, very helpful. And of course there was, and Robinson was able to play enough to make be significant. So they had depth. And that was the big issue. And the other thing is that Cat and Brunson found a way to maximize that duo. So the new coach helped, having just a new voice and certainly a new approach, and everything worked well, and they deserve all the praise that they're getting.
Yeah, well said. You've seen them all and covered all great players and teams. Do you have a comp to Brunson and what he's done in his career?
Well, with this career, let's see how the career pans out. Now, this is he's had a up. I'm like, I liked him at Villanova. I knew about him. I when he was with Dallas, I was saying, oh man, I'd like to get that guy. on the Celtics. I'd love to have that guy. And then when the Knicks signed him to what they did, and I said, wait a minute. I love the guy, but he's an auxiliary player. They're overpaying this guy.
Yeah.
And I was hardly alone, but I was adamant. I don't know what they're doing. Why are they paying this guy? He's not that good. Well, guess what? He is that good. And as we watch him play every night, and we see how this guy has taken advantage of every bit of physical ability that he was given. He's maximized everything that you can do with that body that he has. There's nothing to do but admire this guy. Now, I'll give you one comparison about a 6'1" guy who maximized his ability and was able to worm his way inside and do stuff in a similar way in his time that Brunson did. And people would forget about this guy because he played with more glamorous players. That was Gail Goodrich. Mm-hmm. And Gail Goodrich, averaged 25 points a game for the 71-72 Lakers. I believe he actually outscored West by a percentage point or two. They each averaged 25. But he was a very resourceful player. I think that's the best word to describe those guys. They used every bit of resource that they had. So I remember Goodrich would post guys up when people posted people up. But anyway, that's the one other guy I could think of that at that size played in any remote way to the effectiveness that Brunson has. But he is just there's nothing I love it when he goes inside. I love it when he there's one other guy in the league though right now that also has maximized what he's done, and I think you wouldn't disagree too much, and that is Peyton Pritchard. And Peyton Pritchard is about the same size, and he gets some amazing things done inside too. But right now, the man who's the king of the world is Brunson.
He's the king of the world. He's the king of New York. And, Bob, you mentioned it before you came on. The camaraderie you've felt in New York is off the charts. The unity is through the roof. Everybody around the boroughs wearing Knicks hats, Knicks shirts. I've never seen anything like it. And I'm trying to think of a historical comp for this Knicks team. You know the history of the NBA better than anybody. The one team I keep coming back to, and I know it's a different era of basketball, that Pistons team. I know it was built different, but Worldwide West, a Detroit guy. You had Chauncey Billups. You had Rasheed and Ben Wallace, Prince, Rip Hamilton. Is that reasonable? Can you think of a better comp for this 25-26 Knicks team?
Well, that's an interesting one. I know people have brought them up in the context of winning without superstar, that they didn't have a superstar player, even for that. Who was the best player on that team? Was it Chauncey, who is in the Hall of Fame? Was it Chauncey? Maybe so. Rip Hamilton, nice player, but not a Hall of Famer. You can go on the list of some others they had. I don't think that they're completely comparable. I think the Knicks are better, and no question of higher wattage, higher star power than that Pistons team had. I think, frankly, yes. The one team I thought you were going to go with in terms of captivating a city and turning it into a complete high school atmosphere, the Trailblazers. At 677. Yeah, I remember they were the first team that were charging people to go watch the game, in the building and when they were on the road.
Okay,
they were the first team. They were the first team to do that. Watch party. Mm-hmm. We didn't have that word in that. I don't know what they called it, but they used to bring people into the Rose Garden and when they were on the road and sell 12,000 people tickets. That was the first one. Now we're talking 49 years ago, but they did it. So you got to just throw them into the discussion. But imagine New York. Are you serious? New York, 5 boroughs, all the millions of people, and the way they have taken, and all the great teams, all those Yankee teams, the football giants, et cetera, and there's never been anything like what we're seeing in New York for fan fervor. The city game, the late Pete Axthelm, it's got to be up there having a good couple of beers saying, I told you guys that New York was a basketball town because, he wrote a book called The City Game. And everybody knows about, the Rucker League, and everybody knows about the 4th Street and all that. And it's all true. And I think it's wonderful.
All right, let's get to the Celtics. You know them better than anybody. The vibe in town, are they going to be okay saying goodbye to Jaylen Brown and bringing in Giannis? Do they want to keep that partnership of Tatum and Brown together? What's the pulse at the moment, Bob, of the city that you know better than anybody? I
think it's a big debate. People are about 50-50, and I'm ambivalent myself. I'm in no hurry to get rid of Brown, okay? He said a dumb thing that he should have known wasn't going to go over well when he said this was his favorite season after they got eliminated 3-1. And what he meant was, they didn't have Tatum, and yet they surpassed all expectations, which they did. They were very entertaining. They gave us a really nice, fun, rewarding season, and they couldn't close it out. Okay, fine. But you don't say that. People don't want to hear that. But that doesn't bother me in the Olympic run. He just gets out and plays. My theory is this: I'm not in no hurry to get rid of him. I understand what the potential of a healthy Giannis thing is with Tatum. Would give them a dimension they do not have at the moment. But I'm not trying to kick Brown out of town. My final theory is this: in Brad, I trust. I'm going to go whatever Brad Stevens does, I'm going to endorse. If he doesn't trade him, see, Brad, you knew what you're doing. If he trades him, okay, Brad, I'm going to trust you. And I mean this. I trust Brad Stevens. So whatever they do, whichever way he leans, that's the way I'm going to.
Okay, 2 minutes left, sir. Bob Ryan, our guest on the Progressive Guest Line. If you're Wemby, do you call Duncan? Do you call Olajuwon? What do you think he should do to work on a post game?
Well, he's got Duncan and he's got Pop, and work on a post game. Well, work on a post game if it's interesting who's left to do that. Olajuwon would be one. Yeah, he would be one for sure. I would think. There's just people out there that if they wanted to consult, but he does need to do that. But the thing about him is, he sullied his reputation. We were canonizing him, and I was right there doing it. Then he elbows Naz Reid. All right, that's an aberration. I thought,
right.
And then we all know what he did after that, and really dumb things and dirty things, and my God. And then he doesn't seem to be remotely remorseful, and he needs to. He really sullied his own image a lot. He's got to go home and they got to talk to him about. He needs to make some public amends. I think he's going to cost himself a lot of money if he doesn't say, okay, I'm sorry, I don't know what I was saying. Let's go back and start all over. So, but you're right about he does need to diversify his game. He has to get. We know you're worried about the body from the start.
Yeah.
So we figured he wants to get stronger and all that. But he's 22 years old. It's a long way to go. He's far from a finished product, and he does bring to the table physical skills that we've never seen a 7'4" guy have, period. He's different, and he's fascinating, and he's still a young man. And so the story's far from finished.
Absolutely. Great perspective. Love the stories. Love the insight. Always good to catch up with you. Have a good weekend, sir. Thanks for a few minutes.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Bob Ryan on the Progressive Guest
Enjoyed
Line.
it. That was tremendous.
Yes. Wow. 50-50 there. Should they make a trade? And Brad, we trust. Very good. Good points about Wemby, too. Everyone loved him, and then he became a villain overnight. Update in the USA match and win-lose. Everyone talking about the draws. How about if you're betting this angle every single match? The answer will surprise you coming up.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Some big names are going to miss the cut at the U.S. Open, and the cut line is 3 over. We'll get to that. And again, Wyndham Clark, your leader through 2 rounds. Congrats if you had a ticket on him with the first round leader as well. USA wins 2-0. We advance. We'll see if we can win the group. We'll find out later with Turkey and Paraguay. Coming up in a half an hour, though, it's Morocco, and they're very popular. And more on this match. It's Malcolm Banford. Joins us now from the Sports Gambling Podcast, and he's on the Progressive Guest Line. Appreciate the time, my friend. Are you concerned how popular Morocco? It seems like everyone likes them. Coming up in half an hour, they're $1.40 to win.
It feels like a little bit of a trap now. I am concerned. All things being equal, Morocco should win. They've got the better team. They've got the better form line. They were excellent against Brazil. Scotland were a little bit flabby against Haiti. So you put all of those things together and it just looks like a Morocco win. But it's football. It doesn't work like that. I think the difference tonight with Scotland is Scotland were favourites in that first game against Haiti and had to go on the front foot. And that's not something Scotland are necessarily great at. They tend to play better as underdogs. This evening, Morocco will be on the front foot and Scotland can just sit in. I think the manager will play a little bit of a different system. He'll be slightly more stoic, slightly more defensive. And Scotland could easily perform the smash and grab and win it 1-0. But Morocco have got the better players. You go through Scotland. Scotland have been a really good story. Boston have loved them. Like the USA supporters have taken to them. The social media clips have been brilliant. It doesn't take away from the fact a lot of their players play like the lower reaches of the English leagues and the Scottish leagues. All things being equal, Morocco win this game. But like you, there's a tiny little alarm bell ringing.
Yeah.
We'll find out in 2 hours.
Yeah. Draw plus 260, total 2.5. How about a prop you like in this match?
Prop I like in this game is I've got two players for Morocco who get amongst the shots. So one is El Inouye, 2 shots for him. But the person I'm going to target is Achraf Hakimi, the big name for Morocco. He nominally plays right back. He pops up all over the field. It's like a guessing game where you're going to see Hakimi pop up next. He'll just abandon his position at right back. And he gets shots off all over the place. Achraf Hakimi to have 3 shots this evening he's a nice price, if I can find it in my notes. He is 11-4. So, sorry, I'm going British odds here. He is plus 275.
That's okay.
To get 3 shots, Achraf Hakimi. He will just pop up in the penalty area when you least expect him. Morocco will be on the front foot tonight as well. 2 shots is minus 111. 3 shots is plus 275 for the PSG player.
All right, Malcolm, let's get to a game that a lot of Americans are going to be very concerned with. Of course, late night, it will be Turkey taking on Paraguay. We know the calculus. If a certain outcome goes a certain way, the United States already is advancing after their victory today, will win the pool, will win the group. So is there going to be more celebrating for USA fans later on this evening? Or does Turkey get this done? How are you playing this match late in the evening?
I think Turkey is slightly overrated. There was quite a lot of steam on Turkey when they came into the tournament, and I don't know where it came from particularly. They weren't clearly better than any other team in this group. However, I cannot believe how bad Paraguay were in that first game. They were genuinely woeful. They were one of the teams. We knew how Paraguay play. Paraguay never deviate far from their stereotype. They're big, they're defensive, they're aggressive, they're tight, they're hard to play. They did none of that. Absolutely none of that. And that concerns me. What concerns me more from a Paraguay point of view is that Turkey now have to go and win as well. Turkey can't sleepwalk into a draw or sleepwalk into a defeat. Turkey need to be offensive. In an even money, I can't get that visual of how bad Paraguay were out of my head. I'd take even money for Turkey. I think they've just got that little bit of quality. Paraguay have got no adjustment to make. They haven't got skillful forwards to throw on. They've got one way of playing, and I don't think it's going to be enough. If they go a goal down here tonight, I think they're goosed. So I'll take Turkey at the evens.
Okay, Malcolm, what the United States has done here in these first 2 matches, obviously they scored a ton of goals in their first one. They win their second one without arguably their best player. I don't know where you were on the United States team going into this World Cup. Has your opinion changed watching these first 2 matches? Were you bullish to begin with? Has the calculus at all changed for you watching the United States here in their first 2 matches?
Yeah, it absolutely has. I wasn't low on the USA. I spend most of my time working with people in the USA, so I've got to be very careful. So I wasn't too low on them. I wasn't being mean. They're better than I thought. They're really better than I thought. And what I like about them is how they've gone about it. There's a few different ways of trying to skin this cat, but the USA have done it in a way that's really easy to like. They're dynamic, they're offensive, they're continually on the front foot. They've scored goals in the first half in both games. They're forcing errors, and then they're not sitting back on it. They just go and play. They've got the crowd behind them, something that's important. You need to get the crowd involved. So everything they've done has been positive. The coach is clearly very good. The players are very well coached. None of this is happening by accident. They're not just doing it all on a wing and a prayer, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
It's all detailed to the final tee. I think they've been excellent. And what they can do, which will give them a good chance against anybody, is score goals. It sounds like an obvious thing to say when you're talking about football, but they can score goals. We're talking about Paraguay tonight. Paraguay can't. There's other teams in this competition that can't. USA can. So you put them up against Brazil, Portugal, France, whoever it might be, they can score 2 goals against absolutely anybody. They'll have a puncher's chance against anybody. A little bit of luck. If the opposition score you a goal in the first 10 minutes every game, that can't do anything but help your cause either. No, I've been genuinely really impressed. It's always great for the tournament when a host goes deep as well. It gets the nation going. It keeps the interest further into the tournament rather than the interest just waning away a little bit. So no, very, very impressed. And a deep run might be on the cards. Who knows?
Hope you're right. They're plus 155 Thursday against Turkey. You can bet that right now. Malcolm Banford, our guest on the Progressive Guest Line. He's with the SGP podcast. And we're talking soccer. His picks so far. Morocco to win. That goes in 20 minutes. Hakimi shots. Turkey to win. And Arda Güler shots on target as well. One more match. I like where your head's at. Brazil and Haiti. Both teams to score plus 160. State your case, please.
A bit of a, not an outlier. It's plus 120. But Brazil are very poor. I was low on Brazil coming into the tournament. They did nothing against Morocco to make me change my mind. The problem with Brazil is their midfield is unfeasibly slow and immobile. They've got Bruno Guimaraes, who plays for my team, Newcastle. I watch him every week. One of my favourite players, but he can't move. Casemiro, similar. Looks like he's towing a caravan. And then they've got Lucas Paquetá, who's the same. All three of them, they've got no legs. It's painful. Us three. We're talking here. I think we could outrun them boys in that midfield.
Yeah.
And that just gives Haiti a chance. That's all it does. It gives Haiti a chance. In Haiti, I think they were a little bit unlucky against Scotland. They had more possession. They had more shots. They won the XG contest. And a trend in this tournament is we've seen underdogs get on the score sheet. Curacao scored. Saudi scored. Qatar scored. Jordan scored. Uzbekistan scored. No one's getting blown out. Or even the one bloke finished 7-1. So Brazil will beat them. They might beat them and cover the 3.5 spread. But that midfield will give Haiti a chance to get forward. And I'm not convinced by the Brazilian fullbacks either. So, yeah, I like it's good for the game. 22-1 Haiti. But they've got a goal in them. And I hope they do score one.
Excellent. Great to talk to you. Great to meet you. You're a character. Appreciate the time. Good luck to you.
Cheers, boys. Enjoy.
Cheers. You got it.
Cheers indeed, Malcolm,
right.
on a Friday. I love a little cheers sending us on our way, Paulie. That's exactly what we're looking for here. Friday happy hour for the whole world. Let's go.
Yet another reason to back Morocco, that Haiti deserved a better fate and outplayed Scotland. So, again, the BTTS, you're up 11.5 units, betting it in every match. And the draw is now up 21 units for the tournament. I can't believe how the book emptied out here right after the match on a holiday.
They probably all went to the stadium swim. You kidding me?
Probably. That possibly could have happened as well. You couldn't move in here. And USA wins 2-0, plus 155 Thursday against Turkey. U.S. Open update. Who's going to miss the cut? Who's going to make the cut? And door 1, door 2 with JJ. I'm going to put him to the test. How bad does he want a Yankees ring, World Series championship, as opposed to a repeat with the Knicks? We'll ask him coming up on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Paulie Howard, John Jastrzemski, Sirius XM Channel 158.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome back. Paulie Howard, John Jastrzemski, Mitch back Tuesday. Follow the money. USA wins 2-0. We advance and we win the group. If Turkey loses or draw, they get a draw later tonight. Brazil and Morocco just getting underway here against Scotland. We'll update you there as well. And we have that Matsuyama, McIntyre, Cam Smith, Hovland, DeChambeau, all going to miss the cut with the U.S. Open. And Rory can't get going as well. We'll update that in 10 minutes coming up, and the in-play numbers. Matt Vasgersian joins us now to talk some MLB, and he's all about the Miz. He's on the Progressive guest line. We love you, Matty. I know you talked about it last week. You loved his K-prop against the Phillies because they strike out so much. I am here for anything and everything Miz-related. 7-0 with a 0.17 in his last 8 starts. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and he went from Monday being minus 140 at most places for National League Cy Young up to minus 175, and who knows, it might be even higher than that today, but as of yesterday, minus 175. We had this conversation a while ago, and I was all about Ohtani for National League Cy Young because I thought he was singularly focused on winning that award, and it was going to happen. Well, funny thing what 2 starts can do. He gives up 3 in Pittsburgh. He gets a bloody blister the other day and gives up 4. And now I feel like it's the Miz to lose. There's nobody that's touching him, and they can't write these K-props high enough. He's in Atlanta tonight. The last thing I saw was an 8.5. You can't write it any higher than that. I don't remember seeing anything, maybe 9.5s in DeGrom's heyday. And I like DeGrom tonight, by the way. Yeah. But Miz is facing 2 guys. I looked at the Braves lineup tonight. Between Austin Riley and Mike Yastrzemski, they've got a 40% K rate the last week and a half. Now, it's interesting because there's a few guys in that lineup that don't strike out that are starting tonight, like Eli White and a couple other guys. But, I mean, you could just blindly play that over and be at least drawn live after 5 innings because he doesn't go more than 5 or 6 innings, except, of course, when he throws a Maddox and strikes out 15. How in God's name do you do that? But he did it.
Yes. How high can we go? We got 5-1 for 12 plus, 9-1, 13 plus, 16-1, 14 plus. This kid's capable of anything, hitting 104 on a gun.
Yeah, I mean, between 8 and 10 is the sweet spot for him, I think. You know, the 15 isn't coming around again. That was really ridiculous. And he had 6 3-pitch strikeouts against the Phillies in that game. The Phillies even said, and we had the Phillies last night, and we talked to Don Mattingly about that game. He said, we knew it was just going to be heaters. All of our guys can hit fastballs. They were all dialed up for fastballs, and they couldn't touch this guy. It was a video game. And he's ridiculous. So 8.5 tonight in Atlanta. Yeah, why not?
Absolutely. And what a time to be alive, JJ. Morocco scores a minute into the match against Scotland.
Let's go.
You got to love that as well.
That's the thing of beauty. Morocco with a goal. Matty V on the line. Yes. Life is good. Matty V, I'm with you on Miz. He's a stud. He's going to win the Cy Young. That said, to me, this game is a rare opportunity. When do you get the Atlanta Braves at home plus 150? Miz could go and pitch 7 innings of 2-run baseball, strike out 10. If you keep the game close, I know the Braves have been cold. I know they have not had a great week. The public is all over the Brewers in this spot. Am I crazy to like Atlanta plus 150?
No, you're not, because that number gets your attention, right? And they're a different lineup with Drake Baldwin leading off, which he is tonight. And, you know, he homers in his first game back. I think you're onto something pretty interesting there. It was supposed to be Chris Sale tonight, as we know, and they pushed him back, and it's Martin Perez tonight. And Martin Perez doesn't get a lot of run. He's not going to be a guy that you stop what you're doing to watch, but he's been pretty doggone good. He's won his last 3. You know, if he's spinning it right at plus 150, you could make probably a worse bet tonight.
Okay, Matty, in the American League, Cam Schotler's been the goods. You know, you wondered how he was going to follow up that wildcard performance against the Boston Red Sox. Well, right now, he's the American League favorite to go and win the Cy Young. He had that crummy start against Cleveland a few weeks back. He bounced back. I thought he was outstanding on Saturday against the Toronto Blue Jays. You got a total in that game at 8.5. Schlittler, strikeouts, interested? And at the end of the day, is he going to be the American League Cy Young?
I've still pumped the brakes on him for AL Cy Young. I think there's some value guys down the board just because I don't know what they're going to do with him in the middle of the summer. He's going to exceed his workload thresholds anytime now. And this is a guy that's just way too important in the postseason. And considering the injuries the Yankees have dealt with, they've got to keep this guy clean. Having said that, 6.5 tonight. Cincinnati, I looked at Cincinnati's strikeout numbers against the right-handed fastball group, four-seam sinker cutter. And the number's 23%. They strike out 23% of their plate appearances. It's not a ridiculous number, but it is the highest number of any team in baseball. That is strikeout rate against the fastball group with a right-handed pitcher on the mound. So, yeah, there's some value there. I think on the other side, there's some interesting stuff too. Rhett Lauder against left-handers, and he starts for the Reds tonight. He's never pitched at Yankee Stadium. That's a dicey thing. We know what Yankee Stadium can do. Even this version of Yankee Stadium, it ain't the old place, but even this one can get to guys. He has given up some real numbers on his slider this year, to left-handers in particular. OPS over 1,000. So Bellinger's in play tonight. Spencer Jones in play tonight. The Martian is interesting tonight because Jason Dominguez is batting near the top of the order tonight. If you can find homer props on him, total base props on him, you'd probably get some nice plus money out of it because he's not a betting darling the way Judge and Bellinger and Goldschmidt have become. So that group of left-handed hitters, I think, is in play tonight for the Yankees.
Our friend Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network, Angels play-by-play on the Progressive Guest Line. Follow the money. Paulie and John Jastrzemski, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Chandler against Freeland in Coors, 11.5 the total.
I know, right? This is another one they can't make high enough.
Yep.
Bubba's had his trouble. So has Kyle Freeland. The Rockies have lost 9 of their last 13. Their starter's ERA over that stretch is over 7. But moreover, the Pirates bullpen is really a mess. And we saw it in West Sacramento. Think about this trip the Pirates are on. They're playing 6 games on the face of the doggone moon. 3 in West Sacramento,
yes.
3 in Denver. Good luck. Good luck to a bullpen that was scuffling to begin with.
Yeah.
I think that's something to watch live, especially once Bubba comes out of the game and he's not a guy that gives you more than 5. The late stages of that game could be pretty interesting given the bullpen there. I also like Brian Reynolds tonight. If anybody's going to get hot, it's him. And he has been a little different this year because his numbers as a right-handed hitter are very good this year, more so than ever before. So he's going to have at least 2 plate appearances, you figure, batting right-handed against Freeland. I don't know what his numbers are, but most of those total base props are 1.5. I think Brian Reynolds is a guy to circle in that game.
Okay. I'm going to pull that up while you're talking. That's excellent. How about A's who are playing great ball? Springs, though, ERA of 8 last 5. He goes against Soriano, who has bad numbers against the A's going back.
Yeah, that one's interesting, right? Because Soriano is he and Reed Detmers have been the Angels' best starters this year. Soriano's the guy that everybody's already calling about for a trade deadline pickup. But in 2 starts last year in that little ballpark in West Sacramento, 8 earned runs in 11 2/3 with 3 homers. There are guys that don't like pitching there. I'm not saying he's one of them because it was only 2 starts, but neither one of them was very good. And if we have like a Luis Severino thing going on where Jose Soriano doesn't work well in that ballpark, the A's have been scoring runs aplenty at home. And granted, it was Pittsburgh's bullpen that was in part to thank for that. But I don't know what the number is. Soriano numbers are usually pretty reasonable because he's good. So you don't see opponents with run line totals of 5.5, 6. But if you want to kind of buck the trend here and bet against the Angels' best pitcher, who knows what Sacramento does in this equation with Soriano.
Okay. He's to give up. Yeah, they got the earned run props up there as well at DraftKings. 3 or fewer minus 160, 2 or fewer plus 130. They respect you Reynolds' total bases 2 minus 170 at DraftKings. 3 is plus money. Wow. Yeah.
A hard 2 at minus 170. Let's see, again, those are just Denver numbers. That's just inflation. It's Denver inflation.
100%.
Yeah. Another prop you like? 90 seconds.
I like Jacob deGrom. I guess that's probably where I would go, just because San Diego has had a hard time offensively. They're in the third stop of a 3-city road trip that's been hot and brutal. They've held up okay. They're 3-3. St. Louis, Baltimore, and now Texas, or Baltimore, St. Louis, now Texas. But deGrom's been great. Last 4 starts, 33% whiff rate. I don't know what his strikeout number is. You could look at a deGrom strikeout. You could look at the Rangers keeping San Diego quiet first 5 while deGrom's still in the game. There are a lot of ways to look at that, but I do like deGrom tonight.
You are the best. Thanks, my man. Have a great weekend. Appreciate you.
Have a good weekend, boys. Good talking to you.
Yep. deGrom, 7 Ks, $1.15. 8 Ks, almost 2-1. 9 Ks, plus 350. Goal in the first 10 minutes. Morocco was plus 450. And that was, how about a minute in? How about that? They're now minus 450 in play. More on the soccer. U.S. Open update. What's going to happen? Yes, no. Missed the cut, the leaderboard, and what transpires in the NBA over the weekend. We'll go rapid fire with JJ next.